Hello, today I'm going to be doing a overview of the Firelight MS-10UD. So first, this is a 10-zone control panel by Firelight. It has 4 NACs and 3 programmable relays. So first, let's open it up with the Firelight key. As you can see, I got mine with the address panel, and you might be able to see there on the door there is some stuff, some labels just telling you like how to operate the panel and other stuff like that, and like where the connections are and stuff. Okay, so now it says right there, it says you can program 2 lines of whatever you want on the LCD. I'll talk about that more later. This is the address panel. It makes it so you can't touch the wiring or get to it when the panel's open. And normally there's a screw right up here and there's a screw down here. But so I could simply take it off quickly. I took the screw out, so all I have to do is lift it up. It hinges right open. And I'm going to go ahead and take it off because it's kind of getting in the way. Just lift it up and pull it out. Okay, now that we're inside, we can see all of the terminal blocks. So, first I'm going to talk about where the AC comes in. So it's kind of hard to see, but that white wire right there comes up behind the board, and it goes into that black thing back there. That's the power supply. And that white cable, that's the 120 volts AC that comes right here. This comes into the power supply. And this green cable also goes into it, but it's for grounding the chassis so you don't get electrocuted if the wire comes off. And then out of here, of the power supply, there's these wires, these 3 wires. These power, hang on. They come down here to this part of the board down here, and they plug in. And then right down here, you can see your plug for your battery backup batteries. There's a 2 12-volt batteries, which makes 24 volts. And that's basically power for the panel. And for this panel, normally, for the MS-10UD, it comes with the Flip 7 power supply, or you can get the FLPS 3 power supply, but it normally comes with the FLPS 7 power supply, which is 7 amps. And the FLPS 7 power supply, it doesn't need a transformer, but if you had like the MS-5UD or use the FLPS 3 power supply, you just see a transformer there. Sorry you couldn't see that, but up here, now I'm going to talk about the inputs and outputs. Okay, so right here we have NACs 1 and 2. These are for controlling like horns or horn strobes. And then right here you have NACs 3, right there, NAC 3 and NAC 4, which I'm not using. They have underlying resistors. And then right here we have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. This is zone 1 to 5. And this is where you connect your pulse stations or your smoke detectors, stuff like that. Like if you had like a module, something like that. Right here we have zone 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are the rest of the zones. And right here we have your remote sync power, or remote sync power supply. That's for if you have a remote power supply to sync the output of it with this, so that it doesn't like the strobes flash all in sequence. Right here we have relay 1. There's 3 terminals on it. All these terminals you can take out, but they're kind of hard. This is relay 1, this is relay 2, and this is relay 4. Normally they come from the factory as alarm, trouble, and supervisory, but you can change them to be like all alarm, all supervisory, and there's a lot of like tamper. There's a lot of other things you can change them to. So that's the input zones, or the input, some of the inputs and outputs. Now let's go over here to the resettable power. This connector right here is resettable power. I mean, this is just power. It has resettable power and it has non-resettable power. And you can make them both non-resettable power by changing that little jumper right there. You might be able to see that. I don't know. So at the top, these two are for resettable power, and then those other two terminals right there are for non-resettable power. You can see you can pull this out. The panel does not monitor. Oh, it does. Okay. Oh, I know why. Because I just unplugged the module, and it broke the zone 3 on the line. We plugged that back in, you heard some stuff initialize, and then it put the line resistor back on. But yeah, if I didn't have anything hooked up here normally, you don't need an underline resistor for those. Now, one of the last input outputs for this panel is down here. This is the AN bus. This is for connecting remote annunciators and stuff like that. Like you can connect like printers and voice-evac modules and stuff to it. It's basically just like a communication bus and 24-volt power. Right here I have an AN80 connected, a remote AN80 annunciator, and it has these two. This terminal right here is positive 24 volts, and this is common right here, and this is A and B for communication. And this is monitored. If I unplug it, it'll say, hang on. It'll say trouble in system and bus fault, and it says device number, all devices. Because I only have one device. And you can see it says ground, power, A and B. That's what your connections are. Acknowledge that. Plug it back in. Yeah. Annunciator would say this, so you have to reset to initialize the annunciator. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. Okay, so now over here next to it we have our two phone lines for the DACT. If you wanted monitoring, you'd plug your two phone lines in there, and this panel has a built-in DACT and all that stuff, which I'm not using. And then right above it is their last connection. There is this USB cable for programming. So this plugs in your computer, a Windows computer, and you'd use PS tools, and you can do all the programming, but you can do it on a computer, and you can type the names in, so it's a lot quicker to do. But you can do all the programming on the panel. So now I'm gonna just show you a little bit of the features on this panel. Okay, so first, here are the simple keys. You have acknowledge for if there's a trouble. You have alarm silence. You have drill, and you have reset. And drill you have to hold for 2 seconds. And you have your up and down arrows, which are for scrolling through menus and troubles and history. The left and right is for programming. And then you have 1 through 9 keypad for programming. And that's how you enter names and stuff in. Okay. Then you have first event. So if you had lots of troubles and you scroll down, you press that and it would go to the first event. Clear. I'm not sure what clear does. You have escape. That's for if you're in programming menu and you want to go back to the normal screen. Or if you're done programming. Then you have mode. I'll talk about that in a minute. You have that's for just doing programming, for typing in different different thing to name zones and stuff. And you have 0 and some symbols, also for programming. So if you press mode, it goes into your mode for not your programming menu, but a menu that talks about the panel's features. So 1 is read status mode. I'm just going to go quickly through this. You can read. This is to read the status of everything, but you can't change anything in here. You can scroll through all the system stuff. Let's just do 1 for input zones, and we can look and see what all the zones are. So let's just go to zone 1, and it says it's a pull station zone, and it says it's enabled, but I can't change anything on it in this mode. It says the type is a pull station, and the verification is no, and you have all your stuff down here. So now if we press the escape button to get out of that. Sorry, you can't see that. Second. Okay. Press your escape button. Now you're back to your main menu. If you press 2, I'll get to that in a minute, because that's where most of your programming is. 3 doesn't do anything, it's for future use. 4 is your remote downloading, which that you type in password. Then in remote programming, for 2 you can accept a download. If you plug something into your USB for PS Tools, this will let you download to the panel. And back to 2. This is your main menu. Now you're in your main programming, and then now you press your password. You have input zones, NACs, relays, system setup, option modules, which would be like the AND bus and stuff, history, walk test, clear program, and password change. So let's just go from the top. Input zones. You have all your zones. Just like do zone 1. Press down to edit. Enabled. If you press 1, you can disable it. Type pull station. If I press 2, it shows all the listed devices, all the different types of zones I can set it to. I can press escape to get out of that. Verification. Pre-signal delay. This is a noun adjective. I don't have anything in here right now. Get out of that. Okay. So it's basically the same for all the zones. Press escape again. 2 for NACs. This shows all 4 of our NACs. Let's just go to NAC 1. These are all the same. You can press 1 for disable it or enable it. 2 is coding. On this panel, you can choose between steady, which is normal, March time, California, which is like every 5 seconds it turns off for like half a second. I kind of forget what it does though. Temporal, which is like code 3. 2-stage 3-minute, which I don't know what that is yet, and 2-stage 5-minute. And then you have sync system sensor, sync wheel lock, and sync gentex, and sync Faraday and sync AMSICO. Press escape to get out of that. That's your coding. If you press down, silence and sync mute. That's for doing like selective silence to keep the strobes flashing. And auto silence. Press 2. You can choose what your auto silence is. 3. Silence inhibit. You can change if you want it silence inhibited. Oh, that's it. Okay, so you press escape. To your main programming, press 3 for relays. It shows you what your relays are and what they're set to. So you can, if you press relay 1, you can choose what you set it to. You can set it to alarm, trouble, supervisory, process monitor, which I don't know what that does, AC loss, which will flip on or it'll turn on if the AC power goes out. Hazard, which is if you set a zone to hazard, it'll go off, kind of like a supervisory. fail, which would probably be like the phone lines. Medical, same thing as hazard, basically. Silenceable alarm, I don't know what that is. I think that's if you press silence, it turns off. And that's it. And it's the same for all of them. I set them set to alarm trouble supervisory. Let's set relay 1 to be silenceable alarm. Now let's press escape. Okay. Now we're in our main programming menu. Press down. System setup. We press 1 for system setup. Timers. That would be like your pass pre-signal delay. The water flow delay for water flow sensor, AC loss delay before it calls a monitoring service, if you have that hooked up. 2 for banners. Factory banner, user banner. This is just what it says on the main screen when it's normal. Hit escape. 3 time date. That's to change time and date. And I have that right. Trouble reminder. That's for reminding you if there's a trouble. I think it beeps like every 5 minutes or something. Canadian option. I don't know what that is. Charger disable. I think that's for if you have a remote or like a bigger power supply. You'd have your batteries in there. I'm not quite sure though. Go down. That's it. So hit escape. They're in your main menu again. Now 2 for option modules. 1 for AND bus. This is bus enabled. You can press 1 for no. If you press 2, goes to bus modules, and you see on address 1 I have the AN80, and you have up to 8 devices. And auto configure, well, you don't have to really program it. You just press that, and it figures out what devices are on your AN bus. It'll automatically suck them up for you. And then these are just options for all the things you can do. And S PG options, and AD options, and relay options, and audio options, and sec enable. That's for secondary AN bus. We can go back up. Let's do AN AD options for 2. And we can enable the piezo. We can enable the lock. We can enable the silence button, the reset button, or the drill button. Let's go ahead and turn the piezo off because I'll be doing testing later and I don't want to wake up my brother. Piezo, and then we can press escape, and then you have all your other options like AN relay. Press that. I don't have one. You can probably set what your relays are. Escape again. Onboard DAC. That's for all your DAC stuff. If you have it set up. And now 3 for programming. For history. You can view events or erase history. Press 1 to view events. I don't have very much because I just cleared it. We can view all 1. And now this is everything that's happened since I erased the history. And erasing the history doesn't erase all the programming features on the panel, or it doesn't erase your program. It just erases the history. So escape 2 to view alarms. Since I did it, there's no alarms. 3 to view other events. All that stuff. 2 to erase history, and you press 1. Now I just erased the history. So now if we go 1 to view events and then 1 view all, there's no events in history. We press escape again. Now if we press down again, we can go into walk test. We can do silent, audible, or view result. I'm not going to do a walk test right now. We escape again. Clear program. That I think clears your program, so it sets it back to factory defaults. And then password change, just to change from factory default passwords, which I don't want to do. And then that's all for programming. Press escape again. That's basically all for programming. If you press escape, it'll reset the system. Okay, so and there's no faults, so your banner shows up right there. So yeah, I think that's that's a good overview of the Farlight MS-10UD. And they give you a lot of extra space down here. And as you can see, I have my batteries sideways so they don't cover up my hole, because I drilled that hole because I didn't want like conduit. Maybe it doesn't line up with my other conduit. And then all this now I have all the space because my batteries are this way, which these batteries are sealed so they can go this way. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see those batteries, but right there. The batteries, they're sideways, but you can because they're sealed. Then the bottom panel has some resistors and stuff and conduit things. And I got this panel with a couple knockouts knocked out the top, which is fine. And then I have my system sensor screwdriver. So yeah, I have all this extra space down here. You can store stuff. So let's go ahead and show you how to put the dress panel back on. You can see the knockouts up there. Up on the top here, they're knocked out. Right in there. So we can grab the dress panel. This dress panel is it's kind of hard for you to see. Hang on. This is the DP51050. This is the dress panel. I believe it's for the MS-5UD, the MS-10UD, and one of the adjustable panels. I'm not quite sure. They might use different ones. So, here, let me refocus. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something. And I hope this video was useful to you. Thanks for watching.